What's up everybody, Todd here. Today we're going to install the Track Series cold air intake from aFe Power on this 2019 and up body style Ram 1500 Hemi. The tools I'll be using for this installation are a ratchet with an extension, an 8mm socket, an 11mm deep well socket, and a 20mm wrench. Now make sure you're subscribed to our channel to keep up to date with our latest content. Let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is remove the factory intake. What we're going to do is we've got a couple of band clamps that need to come off. We've got one down here. It's going to take an 8mm to loosen up this one, and also back here, same 8mm. All right, next we need to go ahead and disconnect our breather tube. What we're going to do, we got a tab at the bottom we're going to push up on. When you push up on that, it'll just slide right off. Here's our tab. And on our air temperature sensor, we've got a tab on this side. We just push in on the tab and it slides right out. There's our tab that we push in on there. All right, now we can go ahead and pull the tube off. We're going to set that to the side. All right, now we're going to go ahead and remove the factory air box. What we're going to do is kind of wiggle it loose, pull it free from these grommets, and lift it out of the engine bay. Okay, now here is the factory air box. I've got this turned upside down, as well as I've got our aFe air box turned upside down. What we're going to do is transfer the grommets over. So we're going to pull the grommets out of the factory air box, and then just pop them right into the aFe air box. Go. All right, now we're going to go ahead and set our new filter into our filter box. We're going to drop it in place, and then this portion of the filter is going to come through the opening in the housing, and we've also got a little bit of a lip that needs to clear. So as we pull it through, make sure that lip goes all the way through and gets seated. Make sure it's all the way around. There we go. And here is our band clamp. Make sure it's nice and loose, and we're just going to set it in place so that we can still fit our elbow into it. All right, now we're going to go ahead and install our hood gasket. So that's just going to fit right on top of our filter box, and just kind of work it in as you go around. Let's push straight down on it. There we go. Now let's go ahead and do our intake tube. Okay, next what we're going to do is take our temperature sensor from our factory intake tube and move it to our new intake tube. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to turn this 1/4 turn. We're going to pull this tab kind of over top of this little hump and wiggle it free. Then we can put it into here. And then once we have it set in, we can turn it 1/4 turn and lock it in place. Just like so. Next, we'll also go ahead and take our breather tube adapter. Now this is threaded. What we're going to do is run those threads into our intake tube and use a 20mm wrench to get that nice and snug. Do not over tighten this though. You will still see some of the threads sticking out once it's snug. All right, let's go over to the truck. Okay, now we're back over here at the throttle body. In our kit, we're still gonna have 2 clamps left. One's slightly larger than the other one. We're gonna take the smaller of those 2 clamps, and we're gonna take our reducer coupler. Now, reducer coupler is gonna have a smaller end and a larger end. The clamp is gonna go around the smaller end, and then we're gonna fit that over top of our throttle body. Once we get that kind of seated down in place, we're going to take an 11mm deep well socket and tighten down this clamp. Now, as you tighten it up and as it gets snug, you want to hold the coupler in place to make sure it's going on nice and straight. All right, once we get it on nice and snug, we're going to go ahead and take our larger clamp and set it on top of the larger opening of the coupling. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and install our new air box. Where the grommets are going, they're going to slide over top of these posts. So just line them up and drop them in. All right, now what we're going to do is take our intake tube and fit it into the filter. Once we fit that in place, we can take and rotate it to where it lines up to our coupler, and then fit it down into the coupler. All right, once we got them both in place and lined up, we can tighten down both our band clamps with an 11mm deep well. Make sure you do not over tighten these. All right, now we can go ahead and reconnect our crankcase ventilation tube and our air temperature sensor harness. Make sure both are completely seated. Well, that concludes the installation. If you found this video helpful, make sure and give us a thumbs up. If you want to know more about the product, check the link in the description below. And as always, if you have any questions, call the experts or visit us online at RealTruck.com.